Hello, it's Reviews Day Tuesday. It's time for a new episode of Discworld Discourses, and today I am reviewing Sourcery, the fifth book in the Discworld series by Terry Pratchett, first published in 1988. Wizard Ipsilor the Red, who, like all wizards, is the eighth son of an eighth son, is banished from Unseen University and has 8 sons himself. This eighth son is a sorcerer, a source of magic, the likes of whom have not been found on the Discworld for many generations. Sourcery was quite an interesting book for me to reread, because in many ways I think it's quite a weak book, but in a few ways I think it's the best so far in some specific areas. I'll start with the bad. In terms of the humour, one of the characteristics of all Terry Pratchett's works, I feel like this book lacks some humour, or maybe I just find it more childish than in other books. Also, although there are some great characters in this book, Rincewind is back, the luggage, the librarian. We also have Nigel the destroyer and Konina the hairdresser. It feels like they're less vividly painted. There's not quite so much characterization, less of a character arc throughout the story. Rincewind has a character arc, but I feel like everyone else is a bit more stationary. And with Coin as the focus of the book, the sorcerer of the title, it makes the book feel a bit unbalanced because we see so little of him. For reasons that become known when reading, we don't get to know Coin very well, but we never really learn anything about him. We see the results of his actions, we see how other characters react to him. A lot of the things that are happening to Coin are happening away from us. We are not privy to what is going on in his head. So that's interesting, but I did find it a bit frustrating at times, and it just makes the book feel a little bit lopsided to me. On the good side, I really rate how this book is structured. It's complex without being overwhelming. There's not quite the deluge of information that we get in The Colour of Magic. There are lots of interesting plots, and Pratchett weaves deftly between them, and that's one of the things that I remember most as a Discworld trait across the whole series. Pratchett's mastery of plot and at tying together stories. And Sorcery is the first book in the series, to me, which shows this off really well. I'd be very interested to know your thoughts on this book, especially since I am a little ambivalent and confused. I think some of my confusion is because I am constantly comparing all of the books to each other. So if you are relatively new to the Discworld and Sorcery is one of the first Discworld books that you have read, then I would be very interested to hear your thoughts on it. What do you think about this book? You know, generally, but also specifically with regards to humour and character and plotting. This book is the Discworld book in this reread of the series of mine that I have read the quickest. It took me half the time to read this than the others, so Sorcery has definitely been the easiest book for me to read so far. Let's talk about characters a bit more, because, you know, I love talking about fictional characters. I really like Rincewind in this book. I wouldn't put him on my list of favourite characters, but I really like him in this book. It did help that I knew a lot about him and his story previously, but I think this is a very good Rincewind book if you like Rincewind as a character. I also loved the librarian in this. It felt like he was more crucial to the plot, and of the new characters, I really like Nigel and Konina. I like the idea of them. They're great concepts, and they have a lot of potential, I think. Also, this is the first book with Patrician Vetinari, or at least it's the first book where the Patrician is named as Vetinari. I'm a little confused about when in the series he actually becomes the Patrician, but this is the first book in which Vetinari is the character, whereas previously it was the Patrician that was the character. And Vetinari is one of my favourite Discworld characters, so I was very happy to see him, even if just for a little while. So, some facts about Sorcery. I don't have many. This was originally going to be one of the books adapted by Sky One, but that fell through, and parts of this book were adapted into the play The Rince Cycle by Stephen Briggs, which combines The Colour of Magic, The Light Fantastic and Sorcery together. And that's all I've got. That's all the fun facts I have. So if you liked this book, what should you read next? Eric is the next Rincewind book, so that's probably the best place to go if you fancy staying with him. If you didn't get on as well with this book, Weird Sisters is the next book in this series and will be returning to Granny Weatherwax. Or Guards might be a fun option. That's the first in the City Watch series, and it's also a return to Ankh-Morpork. I will give Sorcery by Terry Pratchett 3.9 out of 5. I'd really love to know your thoughts on this book and what you recommend reading next. My next review will be of The Weird Sisters, which is the 6th book in the series, and that will be on Tuesday the 2nd of April 2019. And I will, as usual, put a link to the full list of books and when I'm planning on reviewing them in the description below. Let's move across to the end screen. If you would like to see my latest video or some more Discworld Discourses, then you can do so below me here, and you can also subscribe to my channel or visit my website if you should wish to beside me here. I hope you have a fantastic day, and I will see you later on in the week.